The Knicks just fired Tom Thibodeau. Why? Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Yeah, the Knicks just fired Tibbs about 10 minutes ago. And to me, it makes sense. Tom Thibodeau led them to a conference finals and led them to back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since I wasn't born then. And he's a good defensive coach, great defensive coach. We all know that. But Tom Thibodeau does not come without flaws. In the wise words of Kenny the Jet Smith, he wouldn't play 9 guys on a baseball field, right? He is stuck in his ways about 7-man rotations, 6-man rotations, playing his starters 40 minutes a night. Look at who led the league in minutes per game and overall minutes on the season. You will find the Knicks starting 5, basically. And I'm sure if Mitchell Robinson was healthy, you would have found the Knicks 6. There's no offensive game plan in Tom Thibodeau's mind. It is pound, 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 pound with Jalen Brunson. Get a shot up. Not much of an offensive game plan there. You look at the Knicks during the Celtics series. They came back a lot, and they looked very good. They beat the defending champs. However, at the same time, they were down 20 in those games. and while battling back from down 20 is very fun, and it's amazing as a fan to watch, it's not sustainable. It won't happen that often. Some of the guys looked very gassed in the Pacers series. Josh Hart just didn't look good. Josh Hart was objectively not very good in the Pacers series. He wasn't playing with the same aggression. When he was playing with aggression, it felt like it was forced. He was forcing it a lot of the time. Josh Hart was just not great in that series. Mitchell Robinson kind of was neutralized by Tony Bradley. Not much Tom Thibodeau can do about that. But the most important thing is he just didn't fit. The defense of this team was okay. It was fine. Wing defenders, obviously, OG, McHale, they're good defenders. Josh Hart's a good defender as well. But you look at it, Karl-Anthony Towns is a starting 5. I was just looking at this about 10 minutes ago, actually, because I'm doing a video about contract and all. But Karl-Anthony Towns in these playoffs, not one series, the 3 series that they played in, averaged 4 personal fouls per game. Actually over 4. It's closer to 4.5, I believe. When he plays the heavy minutes that he does because of Tom Thibodeau, 40 minutes a night basically, if Tom could have it his way, Cat just can't play that much. He fouls a lot. He's a bad defender, objectively. Can't dance on the perimeter like that. Has bad fouls, like reach-in fouls in the backcourt. Just stupid stuff, committing loose ball fouls. That's not Tom Thibodeau's fault. But he doesn't, like I said, no offensive game plan, and he won't play his bench, so his starters look gassed. He also doesn't know where to go when one of his starters gets into foul trouble. That I blame on him not playing a bench. These guys don't know when their number is going to get called because, again, if Jalen Brunson doesn't get himself into foul trouble and it's a close game, Jalen Brunson will play 43 minutes in a regular season game. And that is just a Tom Thibodeau-ism. We've known that since Chicago, since Minnesota, since everywhere he's been. But if you're a backup or a reserve on a Tom Thibodeau team, you don't know when your name's going to be called. Did anyone think Landry Shamet was coming out in the playoffs? Not me. Precious Achiuwa played like 3 minutes here and there. How hard is it to get into a rhythm or to kind of just follow along with the flow of the game when you haven't played in 5 days? Or, you know what I mean? You're getting 4 minutes. You never know on a Tom Thibodeau team. And so I'd imagine for reserves on a Thibs team, you're not going to know when your number is going to get called, and it's going to be really hard to get a rhythm. Guys like DeLon Wright played okay minutes, but they don't get a lot of minutes. He might, a guy like DeLon Wright could go out there and have a great game, and then his number will not get called the next day. That's just Tibbs. But I will say that this team and this roster was not built for Tom Thibodeau. I don't know who it was built for. I don't know if anyone can win a championship with this roster. They were close to making the finals, but even if they did, let's be honest, my finals prediction is coming out Thursday. I'll break it down more in that video, so subscribe. Stay around for that. But I don't think anyone really is giving the Pacers a chance in the finals. They might. I don't know. You'll see in my video later. But either way, Karl-Anthony Towns cannot defend. Jalen Brunson cannot defend. Those are your 2 top players on the team. Neither one of them can defend. Neither one of them can hold their own on the defensive end. Jalen Brunson can take a charge here and there. Karl-Anthony Towns can get a block here and there. But that's just here and there, not normally. Jalen Brunson is an amazing offensive player. We know that, but obviously he is a very limited defensive player, smaller guard, definitely not a very big guy. He can hold his own kind of against a guard, but once a wing switches onto him, it's basically free points. And the same with Towns. If he gets a forward on him, Tyrese Halliburton was doing mean things in the pick and roll with him consistently. just calling for Towns to come screen, calling for Towns to come up on the screen, and Towns wasn't coming up. There was plenty of reports that have come out now about how players in the locker room were frustrated with Towns' defensive effort, not following the game plan, not getting up on screens. That's been Towns' issue for a while. So yes, there's issues with Tom Thibodeau. He doesn't play his rotation. He doesn't have an offensive game plan. But this roster, simply put, is just not good enough. Karl-Anthony Towns cannot be the center on a championship team. I think we all know that. And if you're going to play Towns at the 4 and Mitch at the 5, you don't have a backup 5 anymore, really. And on top of that, Towns has trouble staying in the game on his own. I'd say this is as much a Leon Rose issue in this playoffs as it is a Tom Thibodeau issue. Maybe he didn't utilize Cat in the offensive sense that everyone else is thinking, but again, he's got 5 fouls. He can't stay in the game. Hard to get an offensive rhythm when you can't even stay in the game. I think my overwhelming point in this video that I've kind of made without saying is that this roster construction is just as to blame for the Knicks' loss as Tom Thibodeau in my mind. You hand this roster off to Johnny Bryant. You hand this job off to Mike Malone. You hand this job off to Monty Williams. None of them are making this a championship team. There's legit 7 playable players on the roster. 7, starting 5, and then Deuce and Mitch off the bench. That's on Leon Rose, president of basketball ops, whatever the hell his title is. Karl-Anthony Towns being the starting center. That's kind of on Mitchell Robinson. He was hurt, blah, blah, blah. But even then, that's on Leon Rose. You know he's got to play the 4 consistently, and they didn't get another 5-man that could play along with him. I think firing Tom Thibodeau, though, was a step in the right direction. You can't, again, 50, a guy playing 42 minutes in a regular season game just isn't needed. It shouldn't be. And that was one of Tibbs' biggest issues. You're running starters till death in a regular season game in the middle of December. No reason for that. And I understand it's to kind of tune them up and be ready for playoff basketball when you're needed to play over 40 minutes. But I think you can do that later in the regular season rather than playing Mikal Bridges 45 minutes a night, every night, for this 82-game stretch because Mikal doesn't miss game. But yeah, there's so many flaws with this Knicks team. I just don't know where they're going to go with this. It was a disappointing loss for sure, and the Pacers won that series. It wasn't like the Knicks shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. No, the Pacers just took that series. But there's a couple of issues where it's like, Tibbs can't fix that. Tibbs can't fix Karl-Anthony Towns not getting up on screens, not playing the right help defense, not doing anything on defense. Tibbs is probably the best coach who could get that result out of him. I guess Chris Finch could kind of get it out of him. I was almost going to call him, I almost called Chris Finch Flip Saunders for a second. That's not ideal. But yeah, Towns has his flaws, obviously, and he can't stay on the floor consistently. That's not something Tibbs can control. Stuff like Jalen Brunson being a 6-foot guard that's bad at defense. What can Tibbs do about that? This roster is just so capped and limited on what they're going to do, and I think the key is to just move Karl-Anthony Towns, which sucks because under Tibbs, Cat had maybe like one of the best years of his career. He had the most total points in his career, maybe the highest point per, I don't know about the highest point per game mark, but I think he had the most total points and like second or maybe the most total rebounds of his career in a season under Tibbs. You could say that's because he's playing a lot more. True, but at the same time, it's having career highs is having career highs, and having a great year is having a great year. He came to New York and he came out of the gates quick and started off hot, Bodega Cat, It was really fun to watch with this team, but we all knew there was a cap on how good they were, and Tibbs can't do any. I just don't know what they expect. All right, with this roster, how it is, I just don't know how you expect to be a championship team. I don't think there's a championship team anywhere in here with this roster. Trading Karl-Anthony Towns is the right first step, but for what? I don't know. I really thought about it, and I was like, if you swap Cat for like Bam Adebayo, is this team better? Not really. I mean, they're more switchable and better defensively, but I don't think they're that much better. I'm just not sure on what the upgrade could be and what can make them a real contender. If they land Giannis, sure, but I think there's a snowball's chance in hell that they land Giannis, with all due respect. Especially since they hollowed out that pick equity for, I'm going to be real, a really bad trade. Mikal Bridges, he had some impressive games in the playoffs. I think about Game 4 against the Celtics, he was very impressive. Game 5, I can't remember. It was one of the two. There was some games where Mikal looked really good. but there's also games where Mikal Bridges does nothing and provides nothing. What game was it in this series where he had an open fast break and it was one man to beat, and instead of going up for a layup, he ran along the baseline and faded away for a mid-range clank. That play alone made me want to throw my TV out the window. And that's not something Tom Thibodeau can control. I don't know. I'm kind of towing the line here and not picking a side. If I had to, I would say it's more beneficial for them to get rid of Tom Thibodeau, and this was the right decision. But I think there's more awkward and hard decisions to make for this Knicks team beyond just get rid of Tom Thibodeau. You bring in Johnny Bryant, which is who I'm seeing as the popular candidate right now, Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant ain't bringing the physicality that they need to bring. Johnny Bryant is not coming in and changing Jalen Brunson to a great defender. Johnny Bryant's not coming in and changing Karl-Anthony Towns to a positive defender. You can't hide your best two players on defense, and I think everyone knows that. That's not some groundbreaking analysis. I would agree with Tom Thibodeau's firing. I just don't know if I would have done it. I don't know. If there's roster moves that come after this, makes sense. Perfect. Because it's changing a lot, and, you know, you gave Tibbs a chance with what he had, and, you know, the next guy's going to come in, and you need to make roster changes more than anything, and I think Knicks fans know that. Karl-Anthony Towns cannot be the starting center on a championship team with the bad fouls he does on himself. Bad foul. That's just kind of the clear picture we got from these playoffs, is that Karl-Anthony Towns was the overwhelming issue on the court defensively for the Knicks, right? Their offense was very bad, and we know that at some stretches. Their offense has never been some big firepower, you know, big powerhouse. But, you know, with guys like Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, you would expect the offense to be a lot better than it was. That's a Tom Thibodeau thing. He himself does not draw up offensive game plans. I'm going to be really honest with you. Most of these coaching staffs have offensive and defensive coordinators nowadays, blah, blah, blah. The offense just was very bad at a lot of moments in the playoffs. That's going to point bad at Tom Thibodeau. Let me know down in the comment section, Knicks fans. It was a pretty quick video. Just wanted to get something out there. Like I said, like I've kept saying, again, the issue is roster construction more than it was Thibodeau, in my opinion, but Tibbs still needed to go regardless. Not really a championship-level coach when he plays 6-7 guys max. So, yeah, it's on him. A lot of these losses this season were on him as well, being very stubborn. But at the same time, we all know, Knicks fans, this roster wasn't built for a championship run to begin with. And it all starts with Cat, but that's a different story altogether. Let me know what trade proposals you would like for Karl-Anthony Towns too down in the comments. Like, subscribe, simple stuff. I'm going to go catch a game. See you guys in the next one. Come back Thursday. I will have my NBA Finals preview ready.